Am I the a-hole for refusing to take down my post and letting my ex face the consequences of her cheating? I was with my ex Kate for 2 years and living together for 1 year. To make all the drama short, I found out she had been having an affair for 6 months with her boss. I found out about it and broke up with her on the spot. She didn't even try to justify or deny it and just moved out. But here comes the main thing in all this mess. Honestly, I wasn't expecting that she would bring our breakup to Instagram, but she did, with the classic BS of me holding her back, a bright future waiting for her, and all that type of stuff. But here's the part that made me mad as hell. One of her posts said I was abusing her emotionally and physically. I have a special spot for this because I volunteer at one of those abused women's centers and provide housing for real victims of abuse. It's a long story about a female friend of mine who died because of her ex, and that tragedy deeply affected me. It was the main reason I started volunteering. So you can imagine the rage and anger I felt when she posted that fake BS. I simply made a post on my IG page with proof of her cheating and tagged her directly. The part I wasn't expecting comes now because, to me, for no reason, it's like IG decided to make my post go viral in our community, and the internet rage started under her posts. I was expecting maybe someone to call her out and nothing more, but the consequences hit her harder than I could have expected. In just 2 weeks, her profile was full of people calling her every possible name in the book, wishing her the worst, and all that. But Kate, being Kate, instead of doing what normal people would do, doubled down and got even more hate and worse stuff than I thought possible. The cherry on top was the fact that she is now on administrative leave because apparently her boss tried to throw her under the bus to save his job, and mostly because her company's page became flooded with not-so-kind comments about her, from the classic "fire her" to stuff I can't say here. And the most insane thing happened 3 days ago. Her car was smashed by someone. Not me, obviously. I have better things to do than worry about a cheating ex. And even her own family started getting harassed by people online and on their socials. Yesterday, she wrote to me from a new number, asking me to delete my post because she couldn't keep up anymore with people insulting her on every post she made, and the job thing was the last straw. Honestly, I wasn't expecting all this mess, and of course, some people crossed the line with her car, her family, and her job. But you know what? I don't feel bad for her at all. I mean, she knew how strongly I felt about abused women, and still tried to paint me as a villain by accusing me of something she knew exactly how sensitive I was about. So maybe it's because it's all still fresh, but I don't feel bad for her, and have no intention of taking down my post, which actually gained me 50,000 followers out of nowhere. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to take my post down and letting her face the consequences of her cheating? Now for the top comments. Ask her to post a retraction and apology to you on her social media. She made false statements that would threaten your job and reputation, so until you get at least that, screw her. She made her bed. She can lie in it. Ditto. She needs to both apologize and retract the accusations of abuse, publicly. You don't owe her anything. If you want to be nice, take it down, but not if she's just going to lie about you again. She can certainly just delete her social media and not deal with any of this anymore. That's probably the best idea for her now. If you want to work with her, I would say you can take your post down, since it's already done its job, but she needs to make a post admitting that she lied about you. If she's going to tarnish your reputation, she has to be the one to clear it before you take your post down, not the a-hole. Yeah, absolutely not the a-hole for setting the record straight on her lies. Also not the a-hole for keeping the post up. But I would make removal of your post conditional on her publicly apologizing and admitting that she lied. Not the a-hole. She reaps what she sows. She cheated, that is one thing. But to go back and try to destroy you, even knowing what she did to you, it was okay when you would lose your job and reputation. She didn't care then. Why should you? She got played the very same way. She has every opportunity to make a public apology. She didn't. In fact, she continued her tirade. Let her live in her misery. Karma served her well. Next story. Am I the a-hole for leaving my wife homeless after our divorce? I, 35 male, just finalized the divorce from my wife, 35 female. We were together for 5 years, married for 4. She has a daughter, now 5, who I've raised since she was a baby, but I am not the biological father. Throughout the entire relationship, I was the only one working. I paid for everything: housing, bills, cars, school, all of it. I never complained because I thought we were a team. But after we got married, my wife just emotionally disconnected. She stopped showing affection, stopped trying in the relationship, and anytime I tried to talk about it, she'd shut me down or say I was attacking her. Eventually, I honestly felt like I was just a paycheck and not a partner. I held on as long as I could because of the little girl, but I was breaking down mentally and emotionally, so I filed for divorce. Recently, as in a few months ago, I became disabled, and my only income is disability, so the court didn't order child support or alimony. She got a car and her belongings, but nothing else. I feel bad about this because I make 6 figures in disability pay. Now she and her daughter don't have a stable place to stay. She's been staying in random places, and I can't stop thinking about it. I feel like I abandoned them. But at the same time, I spent years asking her to work with me, meet me halfway, do something to build a life together. She refused. I already gave everything I had. I'm completely drained. I don't know what to do. Do I step in and try to help? Or is it okay to step back now that the marriage is over and let her figure things out on her own? I feel guilty no matter what I choose. So, am I the a-hole for essentially leaving her and her daughter homeless and not helping? How are you getting 6-figure disability? The maximum for high earners is like $4,000 a month. That's $50,000 a year. At your age, it's very unlikely you'd qualify for the max even with very high earnings. $45,000 on VA, $25,000 Social Security disability insurance, $31,000 combat-related special compensation. I am sorry to say this, but your wife only married you for your money. You were her ATM. Why do you think she disconnected after marriage? She got her ATM, so no affection, no sex, etc. Trust me, she will find her another ATM. Your story is why I didn't date single moms when I was single and dating. There are at least 5 reasons for not dating a single mom, and one of them is being an ATM to them. By the way, where's the bio father of her daughter? I am assuming they were not married and he left before she was born and never paid a dime of support. It is not your fault that she is homeless. She is probably looking for her next ATM. Bio father took off never to be seen and is working under the table to not pay a dime. I'm always curious about these relationships. She never worked and she expected you to 100% support her and another man's child? What made her worth marrying? What did she do/have/say that made you think, yes, this is my life partner? Was it looks alone? No, she's average looking like me. When I first met her and while dating, she was different. She cooked, cleaned, put in effort. After we married, it slowly dwindled. So you just fired your maid then? She used to do those things. We married and it slowly dwindled, meaning she wasn't doing her maid duties anymore. So she's fired. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my fiancé we should break up because I won't make my son consider her his mom? I, 30 male, have custody of my son, 10 male, and his mom at this present time does not have any visitation or custody with him. She's not stable and can't be trusted to even cooperate with supervised visits. The last time he saw her was 2 years ago, and it was for a supervised visit. I started dating my fiancée Ellie, 28 female, when my son was 6, and I introduced them when he was 7. They get along pretty well. He didn't have any issues with me and Ellie, or Ellie being around, but he doesn't have a very close bond with her, and he hasn't formed the kind of bond where he loves her like a mom, or sees her as a mom. Ellie admitted to me recently that she has an issue with him seeing her as my girlfriend/fiancée and not as a mom to him. She has tried to create that bond with him because she has started to see him as her son, but he never felt the same. He corrects anyone assuming she's his mom, and she said that hurts her feelings because she's been there for him more than his mom, has worked hard to be a solid presence in his life, and has provided him with the motherly love that he doesn't get from his mom, but it's not enough. She said she wanted him to get back into therapy and for us to do therapy as a family to get us to that point before the wedding. She said she wants to be able to call him her son and have him call her mom at the wedding, and that he won't do it on his own, so we need to encourage it. I asked her why she'd want to force this, and she said it's not forcing, it's encouraging. And don't I think he needs a mother to be present, love him, and teach him everything he needs to know? She asked how things would work if she remains just Ellie and he goes back to his mom in several years' time. She said it wouldn't be good for him, but she is and always will be. I pointed out she could be good for him without forcing him to see her as his mom. She said she'll be good to him regardless, but she doesn't like that he doesn't have a mom he can talk to, be guided by, and loved by. I told her I wasn't comfortable with any of this. She said I should want to do this for our family, and that she's not sure she could marry me if that's my attitude. I told her we should break up then, because I won't force him to consider her his mom. She wasn't expecting that to be my answer, and she asked me why I wouldn't reconsider for my son's sake. I don't believe it would benefit my son to force this, because even if you call it encouraging, all that extra therapy and the pressure of her wish for the wedding feels a lot like force. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Your partner is expecting your son to understand a lot of grown-up concepts. He's 10. He doesn't know what it is to be a mom. He doesn't necessarily fully grasp his bio-mom's situation. These kinds of things are hard and complicated for a small child to grasp. It's great that she's showing up for him like this, but demanding something in return from a child is a lot of pressure, as you've said. You're protecting your kid's autonomy, and I respect that. Forcing a title is how you ensure a child never ever offers it willingly. His fiancé should never demand. The son's connection to her should be earned over time. I think she is trying to cement her place in the family, a precursor to cementing herself into the family by marriage. Not the a-hole. She needs to get her expectations in order. I get it why she wants to be mom to him, or why she sees him as his son, but she isn't mom, and he isn't son. Now, question to you, OP. How do you feel about family therapy? Do you want to try it? See how your son will feel, or see if Ellie can get into terms with not being mom? If yes, try to have it. That would be my recommendation. If you still are hesitant or feel like she'll never get over, just break it off. No point in letting the resentment grow. I don't feel like family therapy would be a good idea for us, because I know Ellie would be going into it trying to make my son change his feelings. And with how strongly she feels about it, I can't imagine her being willing to work on accepting the possibility they won't change. I'm wondering if the mom title is too loaded for everybody. Your son has her stabilizing presence and love. The three of you operate as a family, true? It sounds as if Ellie does focus on the meaningful qualities of her relationships. Can she define why the mom title is a sticking point? Son feels the way he feels. You cannot demand the change. And as he grows, he will change, maybe surprising everybody. Therapy is a fine idea, just not with the goal of making son pretend Ellie is his mother. Good luck. It's not just about the title, but about being seen as his mom. We both know he doesn't. He doesn't call us his parents collectively. He doesn't call her mom. He uses her name and has said she's my girlfriend when talking about who he lives with. So we function as a family. He mentions her when talking about his family. He just hasn't begun to see her in the parental sense. Ellie wants to be seen as this, and as more than just a parent, but as his mom. That's her goal for therapy. Last story. Am I the a-hole for marrying my dad's widow after he'd passed away? So, this is going to sound awful no matter how I word it, but please try to keep an open mind. My 26 male dad passed away about a year and a half ago. He was married to Elizabeth, 54 female, for around 20 years. She's not my mom, and my dad never actually signed my birth certificate. Long story, family drama, whatever. So, legally and biologically, we're not related in any way. After my dad's funeral, I kept in touch with Elizabeth because she didn't have anyone else. She was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer earlier this year, and her insurance barely covered anything. The bills were getting insane, and she was talking about stopping treatment because she couldn't afford to keep living like that. I work a stable job with incredible health benefits, the kind that cover dependents at 100%. I asked HR about it, and they said the only way to get someone on my plan like that is if they're a legal dependent. So, I offered to marry her, and she hesitantly accepted. Before anyone jumps to conclusions, it's not romantic. We don't live together, we don't sleep together, and there's nothing going on. I just didn't want to watch her die when I had the ability to help her live. She cried when I asked her to do it, not because she's in love with me, but because she didn't think anyone would care enough to help. Now my family found out, and they're absolutely losing their minds. My aunt said I dishonored my dad's memory. My cousin said I discussed the family and called me a walking Jerry Springer episode. My stepbrother told me I was sick and probably doing it for attention. I get it. It's weird. I know it sounds bad. But I swear this wasn't about anything other than helping someone I care about survive. I've already been through losing one parent figure. I couldn't just stand by and let it happen again just because of red tape and medical costs. So, Reddit, am I the a-hole for marrying my dad's widow so she could have health insurance while she fights cancer? I don't think I am, but maybe I'm wrong. Does your stepbrother and family know why you did it? I can't understand your family's reaction unless they didn't wait for an explanation. My friends did this so one of them can have insurance for a needed surgery. It worked. It wasn't romantic. Now they're married to different people, with families, and nothing ever happened. Not the a-hole. So did you explain? Or did you just let people's mind wander? You don't owe anyone an explanation for anything you do, but if you didn't say anything, I kinda get the reaction. I explained. My family doesn't like her from when she married my father. He came from money and she didn't. So they practically shooed him away to prove a point. That didn't work out for them. I assume they will push me away now as well. My stepbrother thinks it's weird because it's just his mom. To me, she isn't biological, but we've been raised together so he doesn't see it past the paper. Did you check with your health insurance to find out if you can now add her to the policy and whether they will cover her cancer treatment? Insurance companies do and often deny coverage for people that have pre-existing conditions. They do cover her now. We have been married for a few months. My family just found out when I posted an image from a company meeting where she was my +1.